the avoidant attachment's core wound. Last time we talked about the anxious attachment's core wound, 3 that are very important, that shape your beliefs and your thoughts and how you feel and your triggers especially. Today we talk about your partners, why they feel so triggered and what's going on, what's actually behind it. Avoidants often seem very independent and calm and chill, but underneath they carry really deep wounds that shape how they connect with other people or disconnect in some cases. Their behavior isn't about not loving you, but it's about protecting themselves from being hurt, overwhelmed, and judged. Even when they love you deeply, these wounds can make them pull away or shut down or avoid intimacy, especially when they feel triggered. So understanding these patterns can help you stop taking it personally and respond in ways that can create a safer and smoother connection with them. And yes, it's not your responsibility to make them feel safe. However, if you are in a relationship with an avoidant attachment style, you obviously don't want to trigger them on purpose. By the way, if you're new here, I am Yula. I'm the Anxious to Secure coach. Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. As you might know, I used to be anxiously attached for 30 years, created an earned secure attachment style, and I'm happily together with my avoidant partner, who has also changed so much. Yes, he's done more the passive work while I did the active work at the beginning of our relationship. So we got together, I think, 5 years ago. Then actually, after lots of ups and downs in our relationship, I became securely attached, and the ripple effect onto him as well was massive. One big part really in the work was understanding also the avoidant attachment style, what triggered him, because so much about the way he reacted and the way he showed up in a relationship was like a mystery to me. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. He was not able to express it to me because he was also so detached from himself. He wasn't able to really know what's going on for himself. So by me doing the work, it created a huge difference for our relationship. So let's go with core wound number 1 for the avoidant attachment style. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. And that is fear of losing independence and also basically feeling trapped. So avoidants grew up in homes where emotions weren't really safe to experience, or they felt more smothered as well. So maybe a parent was a little bit more controlling, or maybe it wasn't the environment where they were allowed to make mistakes and be a kid basically. So they learned early on, if I give too much or if I just be a kid and play and have fun and make mistakes, I will then lose myself. I will get trapped. I'm going to be told off. So their beliefs now and their everyday behaviors might look like this. They might think I must stay in control of my space and my choices. And they may pull back when you want to spend a lot of time together or lean on them for comfort, but that might be too much for them. Something my partner always told me when we got together is like, oh, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. And that's something very typical I hear a lot if I coach my anxious attachment clients. And this is really all about like they used to be more controlled when they were younger. And even nowadays, their parents, at least one of them, was very critical. I was telling them, don't dress like this, don't do this, controlling, very hovering, smothering, basically taking their breath away by just being very critical. And then basically they're attached to the similar dynamic. You're basically mirroring somehow a part of their parents. You're often acting a little bit more like their mom or their dad even, and that is very triggering for them. So you mirror that part of their upbringing. back to them, where they feel trapped all over again, criticized all over again. That's why a lot of coaches always say, don't be their mother, don't smother them, don't criticize them. Let them be who they are. And if they do mistakes, okay, it's their mistakes. Even now, little things like intimacy can feel for them extremely overwhelming. So after a long day, when you just want a little hug, or when you want to hold hands, or when you want to cuddle on the couch, that can feel for them extremely overwhelming. So maybe as a kid, parents would hover over them when they are played with friends, or who was telling them exactly what to do, how to play, what not to do, what to avoid. They learned that closeness can really feel like a trap. So this is now being mirrored back to you in the adult relationships. And as we said, maybe they were not allowed to make mistakes when they were little. They were criticized a lot. So now they avoid situations that feel too risky or emotionally intense. And now in your relationship, they might cancel plans or keep conversations light and don't commit too fast or too soon, or in general. They avoid emotional topics. They guard themselves, rather be a lone wolf, and they really feel triggered by being micromanaged, bothered by someone hovering around them, telling them what to do. They rather be the boss and do work independently rather than being told what to do in any kind of scenario. May this be you at home, or a boss telling them what to do, or a colleague. So they're really preferring handling things by themselves alone. And even I see this when an avoidant attachment style is a boss, is a CEO. They rather do things by themselves rather than employing other people who can do it for them, with them, because they think, you know what, I rather need to do everything by myself, or because they're going to do it wrong anyway. So they have this huge trust issue as well, problem of trusting other people. And the core wound number 2 I see in the avoidant attachment style is they have this fear of really being bad. They have this big shame wound about being a bad person, rejected for who they are. They think they're really flawed. It's a bit similar about the anxious attachment style. They also have a similar wound about not good enough, not being worthy of love. But here it's even a little bit deeper. It's a lot about how other people perceive them. Avoidants often experience conditional love. Affection was only given if they behaved right, did the right thing. So they learned, if I'm too much, I'll be rejected, I'm unloved, because they were criticized so many times. The beliefs in everyday behaviors might look like, I can't show my emotions, they will punish me for it. And their feelings were always invalidated as well. Then they avoid being vulnerable to prevent shame and criticism even more. They might think, I must appear capable and composed at all times. Anything messy, or me coming across as I need something else from someone, or being vulnerable, feels very emotionally unsafe. And if I do something wrong, if I show who I really am, I'm going to be shamed for it. It's not safe to let down my guard, to be vulnerable, to show who I really am, because then they can really see who I am. So I better put up this guard and don't let anyone in. So avoidant attachment styles really care about their image, their look, what other people think about them. That, being constantly literally like brainwashed about what other people would say and think about you, that can really create a huge impact about how you perceive yourself, the way you look, the way you dress, the way you talk, if you're married by a certain age. So recently we went to a wedding and my partner was really concerned about what I would wear. I would be happy to even wear a dress and just train us to the dress. And in London, it would be a very appropriate outfit. But here in Italy, a very old school, very traditional, no one would ever probably wear trainers to a dress outfit. But I said to my partner, you know what, I don't care if this is not the look in Italy. Like, this is just me. And I didn't even want to wear trainers. It was more the principle of I came such a long journey in being me and being confident in who I am, that I don't care if this is not the culture or people will look at me differently. I am who I am, and I'm not ashamed about it just because other people might look at me and think strange things about me. And we had this back and forth discussion about it. At the end, he was fine with it, but he was more saying like, yeah, I don't want you to feel insecure and people take look at you. So I think this is all coming down from, this shame wound about what other people would say about you, coming down from parenting and what they teach you about, oh, you can't do this because then, it's something that is not accepted locally, or yeah. And how this might have also showed up in childhood. Maybe an avoidant attached person might have maybe been sad when they were little, or might have cried about something. And maybe one parent would have said, you know what, stop crying. It's really not a big deal. Like downplaying the emotions, invalidating it, and maybe being really harsh about it as well. So then the kid might have felt shame for feeling their emotions and would have tried to hide that part of themselves. Or sharing excitement or fear might have been also being ignored or brushed off. So now they hide their feelings to really feel safe. And now, of course, growing up, they're really hiding really their own emotions. They suppress it and they don't feel safe sharing this in a relationship with someone who's even anxiously attached, who's very emotional. And they might even invalidate you as well, because this is what they have been raised with. They may seem very distant during emotional conversations, and also cancel plans if they feel pressured to, or only share very more surface level conversations and topics. And in work or friendships, they maybe handle stress alone and very, very rarely ask for help. Even now in my relationship, when my partner does something, I ask him, hey, do you need help? He never really accepts help from me, only sometimes after he realizes, okay, maybe he needs something, but it's still something hard to ask for. Um, Core wound number 3 of the avoidant attachment style is the fear of losing control and then feeling overwhelmed in that process. So the avoidants are very uncomfortable when it comes to emotions, right? Really strong emotions, especially their own and also others. So they have learned early on, strong feelings are very dangerous. I have to manage or to escape them. Again, something that the parents might have done is to really invalidate their emotions. Maybe they got like a paper cut or a cut on a tuna can, and the parents said, oh, it's not a big deal. And I realized this as well, that my avoidant partner does this sometimes as well. I don't know, a few months ago, I kind of like hit my hand on a door. My instant reaction is like panic. Might have to go to a doctor. This is still my anxious attachment spiraling too fast, too soon about something. While my partner's more invalidating, more saying, oh, really, you don't need to go to a doctor. So both reactions, I think, were too strong, while his wound is more too invalidating. Rather than saying, hey, how are you feeling? Oh, it's going to be okay. And mine was too strong. It's like, hey, I need a doctor, spiraling too many steps ahead in future. The more secure response would have been, hey, let's validate the pain and emotion, even though it wasn't that strong. It's more the fear of what if something happened to this finger. And then let's check how you feel tomorrow. This would have been the more secure response. But understanding now the core wounds makes me understand why he is always more like invalidating first. But then, because I've done so much work on myself, I was able to express myself later. Can you just reassure me? And because of this, he was able to do this then. And yeah, this is how you can work with a partner also who then invalidates you more. But it's first to understand really where does it actually come from. It comes from their parenting. And that's a huge core wound of them, because they've never been validated properly. They've never been allowed to feel the pain and feel the emotions. So they jump into fixing or invalidating others' emotions also. Not because they don't care or they don't feel or they're careless, but because that's actually all coming from the past. So some beliefs they might carry now is like, I have to keep my distance to keep myself safe, or they might shut down and withdraw or minimize conflicts as well. And they think, I can't trust anyone to handle my feelings as well, or even theirs. And intimacy can be a huge trigger, like memories of chaos or unpredictable situations. Maybe a parent had a sudden mood swing, or they never knew what to really expect. For the avoidant attachment in relationships with you might be like they really avoid deeper conversation, anything about bigger emotions. They might then say you are too emotional, rather than understanding that is their capacity of handling emotions. They then stay busy and distracted and avoiding emotions. They're suppressing them. They're spending lots of time on their phone. They're using an escape with drinking or smoking, or maybe in healthier ways of going for a run or something like this, or they're overworking to avoiding their emotions. Maybe they're also staying in more in like emotionally distant relationship, like in situationships more, where they don't have to commit to anything big. And they're very much hesitating, sharing affection, sharing deeper emotional talks. And if you, for example, someone who's very sensitive, which is very typical, the avoidant attachment attaches to someone who's very sensitive, you might cry very easily during conflict and, gets flooded with emotions. And then you wonder, why is my partner not soothing me? Why aren't they hugging me? Why are they just sitting there and shutting down? That's because of that. They can't handle other people's emotions. That's why it's so important that you do your work. You don't take it personal if your partner isn't able to soothe you, that it's their core wounds and their issues, and you have your own. You need to take care of yourself first. My partner's not supposed to make me feel safe. You're supposed to make yourself feel safe first, and then you can come together afterwards and ask, hey, you know what, can you give me a hug right now? I would really need that. You can work together then after you understand your core wounds, you understand your partner's core wounds. This can create a much bigger, stronger foundation for yourself. So in short, basically, avoidants are not cold or unloving. Their distance is just a self-protective mechanism shaped by really their early experiences, and understanding these core wounds of fear of losing independence and fear of being bad and fear of losing control helps you respond with compassion and patience and smarter boundaries as well, instead of just frustration, taking things personal, blaming and shaming them more over anxiety. And here's some homework for the anxious attached partner. So for you, write down each core wound that we just heard, like fear of losing independence and feeling trapped, fear of being bad and rejected, and fear of losing control and feeling overwhelmed. Then for each core wound, get curious. How might this show up for your partner? In everyday situations, you can reflect back on the past if you're in a relationship right now, or in your past relationships, even with friends. And then note down, how could you help avoid triggering that core wound? And you can even have a conversation with your partner and ask, hey, you know what? Am I triggering this core wound? How can we work together on this to, create more safety within our relationship? And then starting this way, you can also then talk about how you can build a stronger foundation going forward to create more safety for both of you, to create a team. And this simple exercise helped me as well to understand my partner better and respond in ways that work, that we thrive together, versus that we are against each other and triggering each other's core wounds without even knowing. By the way, if you want to understand your avoidant partner better, stop depending on them for your emotional security and start becoming securely attached, I can work with you and guide you on this journey together. I love to help you out and work with you one-on-one. When you regulate your emotions first, notice your limiting beliefs and understand why a partner pulls away, it creates a massive ripple effect in your relationships too, and the ones you actually attract later on. You stop triggering their core wounds subconsciously, and you can manage your core wounds better to feel safer in love, and even stop attracting emotionally unavailable people in general. We can start on WhatsApp or video calls. So check out the attachment library for more free resources as well, or ways to get in contact with me to see if this is the right match for you. You can email me or hop on a free call with me to check out if we are a good fit for each other, or to hear more about my ways of working together. This work is really for anyone who's ready to take action, who's coachable, and to really want to create a lasting change. So I'm so happy you're here with me. Enjoy your winter. Remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought, action by action, and now episode by episode. Lots of love, Yula. You got this.